Here's what's coming up on today's show. Tyreek Hill just announced his retirement plans. You heard that right. We'll tell you what he said in an interview later on. And then, should the Dolphins sign Cam Newton as their backup quarterback? He gave a list of teams that he'd be willing to go to. Miami was on the list, but we began talking about Tyreek Hill. Is he retiring? Don't freak out, not quite. In an interview with Sports Radio 810 WHB, Hill said he plans to retire after his contract expires after the 2025 season. So we're still going to see plenty of Tyreek Hill in a Dolphins uniform, but still, that was a bit surprising that he said he's going to step aside after the conclusion of the 2025 NFL season. Here's what he said in that interview. I'm going for 10 years, man. I'm going to finish out this contract with the Dolphins, and then I'm going to call it quits. I want to go into the business side. I want to do so many things in my life, bro. Tyreek, of course, after the trade, signed a 4-year, $120 million extension with Miami that is set to expire after the 2025 season. I know the 2025 season feels somewhat close because we're in 2023, 2025, 2 years away. But that's 3 more seasons, 2023, 2024, 2025. So we're going to see, like I said, plenty more of Tyreek Hill making plays in a Dolphins uniform. And I think these comments and his retirement plan, I think that means he thinks Miami's going to win a Super Bowl. Because you know how important winning is to Tyreek Hill, right? He won in Kansas City, won a Super Bowl there. I think he really wants to win a Super Bowl in Miami. And he feels like that can be done. That will be done in the next 3 years. Then he can ride off into the sunset, having been at least a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Now, do you believe the Dolphins can win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years? Type Y for yes or HY for hell yes down in the comment section. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So when ad break comes, go down, chime in. Do you believe the Dolphins can win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years? I'm typing HY for hell yes. I think that when you look at this Dolphins current roster, this is a Super Bowl caliber roster, and this is a team that can absolutely win a Super Bowl. The window is right now. The window is not next year, the year after. It's right now. The Dolphins need to be competing for Super Bowl titles right now. And yeah, I understand this team has not won a playoff game in 23 years. That is going to end this year. I think the Dolphins can win the division. I think they can win a playoff game, make a run. And if you make a run, you can win the Super Bowl. And I expect the Dolphins to be competing for a Super Bowl title this year and in years to come. But you got to keep Tua Tagovailoa healthy, whose offensive line is still very questionable, especially at the right tackle and left guard positions. Speaking of Tua, Cam Newton was asked in an interview, what quarterbacks would you be willing to back up? Now, of course, Newton already has come out and said that he's a top 32 quarterback. There's not 32 guys that are better than him, even though he has not played in the league in 2 years. So now he's listed teams they'd be willing to be a backup for, because a lot of people are like, well, nobody's going to sign him because he's not willing to be a backup. He has said he's willing to be a backup, but only for specific quarterbacks. And he listed Miami as a team he wants to play for, and Tua Tagovailoa as a quarterback that he would be willing to be a backup for. We're going to break down the whole list here in a second, but this was certainly causing some arguments on Dolphins Twitter yesterday. No question about that. Coming up, we're going to talk about, is this a possibility? Is this something the Dolphins should entertain, bringing in Cam Newton to be Tua Tagovailoa's backup? I'm going to give my thoughts on that here in a second. But first, let me tell you about these awesome Dolphins draft hats. You can go and get yours right now. Chatsports.com/Dolphins draft. That link in the comments and the description. You got this one. You got a flat bill one as well. Love the colors. Dolphins have the best color scheme in sports. It's going to result in having the best draft caps out there. I know a lot of you have taken advantage and gone and picked yours up. Chatsports.com/Dolphins draft. Go and get your Dolphins draft hat right now. Again, that link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Here are the quarterbacks that Cam Newton said he would be willing to back up. It was a very interesting list. Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, Malik Willis, even though Willis is not the starter right now in Tennessee. So that didn't make much sense. Sam Howell, who's the new starter in Washington, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, and Josh Allen. So those are the current NFL quarterbacks, he said. He also said he's willing to back up these rookies, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson. So his producer Chugs is telling me no love for Will Levis. That's a little bit surprising. But those are the quarterbacks that Cam Newton said he is willing to back up. But I have some bad news for Cam after he said he'd be willing to be a backup on the Dolphins. The Dolphins really did not have room for Cam Newton. They just signed Mike White to a 2-year deal that's worth $8 million, up to $16 million in incentives. Of course, Tua is the franchise quarterback on this team. And then you also have Skylar Thompson, who showed a little bit of promise in his rookie season, last year's 7th-round pick out of Kansas State. Now, do you want to sign Cam Newton? Type S for sign or type P for pass down in the comment section. Go down and let me know. Do you want the Dolphins to sign Cam Newton? I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think it's not just do I not think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. This is not going to happen. Mike White's the backup. Skylar's the third string. Cam Newton is not coming to the Miami Dolphins. I think a lot of us are excited about Mike White being the backup. He certainly showed a little bit of promise in New York with the Jets. I mean, keep in mind when he went down and Zach Wilson went back to starting, Jets fans were just hollering for Mike White to come back. They miss Mike White a lot. That tells you a lot about Mike White, the player that he is. I really like him, and I think he's going to do a good job as the backup with the Dolphins. Here's what Cam Newton did his last year in the NFL, which was in 2021. A 54.8% completion percentage, 684 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions for Newton with the Panthers that year. He also went 0-5 as a starter that year. I would love to see Cam in the league again, but it's not going to be with the Dolphins. It's just not. Cam Newton, again, wants to be back in the league, said he's willing to be a backup, worked out at Auburn's pro day a couple weeks back. So, yeah, he's got a shot maybe to be in the league, but it's not going to be for the Dolphins. I will say this. If the Dolphins run into a similar situation next year at quarterback, which, God, I hope not. But if they do, if Tua gets hurt, if Mike White, the backup, gets hurt, of course, Teddy got banged up a little bit last offseason, then maybe I would be okay with signing Cam Newton, but only in that situation. Right now, it makes absolutely no sense to sign Cam Newton. If they do somehow, we're certainly going to have you covered, so be sure to subscribe. For more Dolphins news and rumors, we bring you year-round coverage on the Miami Dolphins, so be sure to subscribe. We're one of the very few channels out there. I know Douglas Do Wrong, shout out to you. You do the same thing, getting you guys daily Dolphins content, but there's really not many channels that do it. So be sure to subscribe, youtube.com/Dolphins News. We also go live every Thursday, so be sure to join us for our live shows. Want to get you guys this news as well before we go. Former Dolphins safety Eric Rowe has signed with the Carolina Panthers in NFL free agency. Not a huge surprise that he left. The Dolphins signed Deshaun Elliott to be the third safety, so we wish Rowe all the best. He was really good at points with the Dolphins, and certainly wish him all the best in Carolina. Taking a look at some of our top commenters from our video the other day, I said, hey, go break Dustin Swartz's record. A lot of y'all broke the initial record and then broke it again. HBK was our top commenter with 124. Dave Whitting, you were asking me on Twitter, Dave. You were so close, man. 123. Chad Jones right there as well. Fins up with 117 and Fear the Kilt with 86. So shout out to everyone who commented on our video the other day.